Come on, let's go to the Roadhouse.
Nah.
Everything's bigger in Texas, and the portions at Texas Roadhouse are no exception. But watch out. Here are the 10 worst dishes to order at Texas Roadhouse.
What's the verdict?
Awful. Awful.
No.
Cactus Blossom.
Give me my goddamn cactus.
This appetizer's appeal is undeniable, especially when you're just craving something salty and greasy to chow down on. The answer to that craving? The Cactus Blossom, a Texas-sized onion, partially cut to appear like a blooming flower, dipped, battered, and fried to a golden brown, and served with a generous portion of Cajun horseradish dipping sauce. Sounds delicious, but this appetizer combo, according to the FDA, packs enough calories to very nearly fulfill an individual's entire nutritional requirements for the whole day.
That's too much, man!
Suffice to say, it's not recommended to polish off one of these alone. With 2,000 calories, 115 grams of fat, 5,600 milligrams of sodium, the boatload of guilt is much nicer when shared amongst friends. So as your party attacks this appetizer from multiple directions, just don't forget to ask for extra napkins. While the Cactus Blossom may be delicious, when it comes to its downside, sometimes we're better off left in the dark. Who wants the guilt that goes along with this delightful appetizer? Green beans.
I don't want green beans.
I don't want green beans either.
This one may bring back memories of sitting at the table as a kid and hearing your parents say, "No dessert until you finish those beans." Well, this may be just the excuse needed to get out of such a situation. According to an online poll, just over 20% of respondents said that the side order of green beans should be placed at the bottom of the Texas Roadhouse food chain. Although this side dish is prepared from scratch, the beans have been reported to be considerably bland, while the only things providing any real taste are the bacon bits.
If you like bacon, you're gonna love it.
And over-generous amounts of red or white onions that are tossed in while preparing the beans. However, recipes are reported to vary between restaurants. Though this side dish may be considered one of the healthier options on the menu, it still adds another 100 calories to whatever else is on your plate. And let's not forget how many of us will undoubtedly garnish this dish with more salt, pepper, and butter as well. It's not a bad idea to add these extras though, since as we know, most things that are usually good for you aren't typically the tastiest. Short-term pain for long-term gain, right? Texas Red Chili.
He's gonna give us our Texas chili bow.
If you're craving something that tends to bite you back, then chili is an obvious answer. But for a restaurant chain that boasts a long list of steak choices on their menu, the chili apparently leaves a lot to be desired. Granted, Texas Roadhouse claims that their chili is completely made in-house from scratch, and recipes can vary slightly by individual restaurants. They do not use ground beef or regular hamburger meat in their chili, instead using cuts from their steaks in the recipe. Sounds good, doesn't it? Especially when hearing of the mountain of shredded cheese and onions thrown on top.
See, I'll take some more cheese.
It's great to know that individual restaurants can modify their base recipe, such as the bean type used, and based on availability, the beef cuts. However, the general consensus seems to be that the meat is bland, and there's a lack of spiciness to this Texas Roadhouse side dish. Still counting those calories? Well, a single serving of this side dish will give you 290 calories and 15 grams of fat, which is about 25% of a typical day's intake. Whatever the case, chili is meant to be a hearty meal, or in this case, a side dish, and those mixed chunks of steak in it will surely hit the spot. Ribs.
I have the ribs.
Ribs.
As one of the worst dishes to order at Texas Roadhouse, this might come as a surprise since Texas and ribs seems as synonymous as peas and carrots. Apparently, Texas Roadhouse is not known for a low and slow approach to cooking their ribs, so be forewarned. It might be a good idea to request that your server ask the chefs to cut back a little on the cooking time. More times than not, customers received overcooked and rather crispy racks of ribs, not the fall-off-the-bone meat we've all come to expect. And from a health perspective, watch out. A typical rack of ribs with standard sauce contains over 1,400 calories and has more than 40 grams of saturated fat. That's about 75% of your daily calorie intake and a full day's worth of fat.
Am I too fat to ride?
And that tasty barbecue sauce they're drowned in, that packs another 10 grams of sugar into the meal as well. It's funny how tasty food rarely shares the same spot with healthy food. But hey, Walking a few laps around the parking lot could easily deal with that later. If you're looking for a meal that packs a huge protein count, then look no further. The full rack packs 116 grams of muscle builder. Nutritionists warn, however, that the human body can typically only absorb 30 to 35 grams of protein in a single sitting, and the excess will get stored as fat if it's not immediately burned off through exercise. Good motivation, huh? One thing is for sure, a full rack of Texas Roadhouse ribs will definitely conquer even the most ravenous of appetites. Just remember all the downsides that go along with it. Cheese fries.
Whatever, I'm getting cheese fries.
Fries are a standard menu item at many fast food chains, so why would you go to a reputable steakhouse just to order more of the same, right? While steak fries are certainly cut larger than the generic size fry, it has been reported that the large Texas Roadhouse steak cut cheese fries also hold a greater amount of grease within them. And be wary of the seasoning on them, as the larger amount of residual oil keeps a lot more sodium clinging to the fries. One customer in an online blog complained that their cheese fries tasted like they were rolled in salt. Then there's the cheese shreds loaded on top, along with the bits of bacon. And if that's not enough for you, then listen to that little devil on your shoulder whispering, "Hey, for only another 79 cents, you can have a cup of chili thrown on top as well."
Chili cheese fries?
Yes, I love chili cheese fries.
Well, let's be blatantly honest. No one orders something fried with cheese and bacon and whatever else on it for its nutritional value. This side attracts our attention because it has it all. A crunchy yet ooey gooey taste sensation, guaranteed to please. However, in terms of why this side of fries made it onto our list, well, it all has to do with customer complaints over the temperature of their servings. If let to stand too long, the cheese topping was reported to become hard, and the fries underneath thus becoming cold and stiff. A great concept if you're employed as a mortician, but for a side dish, quite undesirable. Fried catfish.
Catfish is no good.
Fish is typically a good idea for those who are trying to maintain a higher protein meal plan. But when that fish is fried, be careful. A Texas Roadhouse order of fried catfish will certainly fit that required protein boost, but be wary of the 1,400 calories and the 1,490 milligrams of sodium that try to sneak into the party as well. So let's look at that word again, fried. This dish serves up 93 grams of fat, 15 grams of which are that nasty saturated type. But it isn't all bad though.
This is okay, you know?
With a fairly balanced 45 grams of carbs and 40 grams of protein per serving, and customer reports stating that the taste wasn't overly fishy, you might consider drinking a fish tank's worth of water to help flush out all that salt that comes with the fried batter. Texas Roadhouse offers other menu options when it comes to fish served, with one of the healthier choices being the grilled catfish instead. But come on, when there's a deep fried version also being offered, is there really a choice? We thought not. Grilled shrimp house salad.
It's got bruised shrimp with it and...
Well, I'm not having that.
Salad? Seriously? Just when you thought it was safe to take the salad option over the guilt-ridden mashed potato drowned in gravy, this little double agent thwarts you. Even without the dressing, this dinner-sized salad packs over a full day's worth of salt, over 1,000 milligrams more than required actually, and a full day's worth of saturated fat. With over 3,200 milligrams of sodium, it wouldn't be advisable to pair this with anything else other than a constant supply of water from a garden hose. But on a positive note, the amount of protein per serving is an exceptional 65 grams.
It's got protein, we need protein.
Again, be wary of protein counts higher than 35 grams per meal, as our bodies typically won't be able to digest that extra fuel without some increased physical activity. It's okay not to skimp on the shrimp. Just drink lots of water afterwards to break down that extra protein before it stores itself as fat. While this may sound rather nasty, it's the body's natural ability to store protein energy similar to the electrons in a battery. But if you don't use your batteries, they tend to get bigger and bigger. Steakhouse filet salad.
How about a big salad? A big salad?
Let's continue with the theme of scandalous salads, shall we? Texas Roadhouse does boast that 44% of their sizable menu consists of just steak, so it's no surprise that some of their salads are topped with choice cuts of beef as well. Try not to be fooled into thinking this salad is a healthier alternative to a straight-up slab of meat, because it's not. At over 1,300 calories, 103 grams of fat, 25 of those saturated, 2,870 milligrams of sodium, and 21 grams of sugar. The Texas Roadhouse salads may toss you a curve.
Now I'm a big fat dynamo!
Granted, the protein count is great at 71 grams and serves those bodybuilders well. For those seeking to eat smarter, it would be advisable to try the chicken critter salad or the grilled salmon salad instead. Some food for thought. Be wary of those tasty croutons or simulated fried onions, typically garnished on many of those leafy salads. They're calorie bombs unto themselves. So, watch out for these and some of the high-calorie dressings too, as they can derail a diet rather quickly. 12-ounce ribeye steak with ribs.
Fantastic for steak.
Oh, but it does sound so good, doesn't it? Perfectly seasoned beef, nestled alongside a succulently sweetened rack of barbecue-sauced ribs. The 12-ounce combo is reported to top the list of Texas Roadhouse's menu, but not for the reason you might think. This meal takes the cake for its calorie count. At just over 1,500 calories, with 111 grams of fat, the equivalent of 10 tablespoons of butter, and an astounding 46 grams of saturated fat. There's also 6 grams of trans fat, which is a pretty big no-no in anyone's diet, since this is the stuff that clogs arteries.
That's scary.
And what are the side dish options to go along with this combo? Remember Isaac Newton and his third law? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, he probably wasn't thinking of his steak supper when he came up with this theory. While there's nothing wrong with consuming such a meal, you might want to have a plan to react afterwards. If one can't say no to digging into such a feast, then they'd better be prepared to run a marathon afterwards. The carb and protein energy provided by this supersized meal should give anyone superhuman powers to do so. The 10-ounce combo might be a wiser choice, and sharing it with a friend may be even better. Bread pudding dessert.
It's dessert. It's pudding.
There are a few other Texas Roadhouse menu items, especially some of their burgers, that could have easily taken this spot. But this list needs to have something sweet included in it. Here's a diet-busting dessert worthy of its spot on our list. Let's start by preparing everyone with this little factoid. First, the American Heart Association recommends individuals should not consume more than 36 grams of sugar a day, with women's recommended intake being even less than that. With that in mind, this sticky sweet bread, covered in Texas Roadhouse's warm, homemade caramel sauce and a scoop of cool vanilla ice cream, contains a jaw-dropping 240 grams of sugar.
You gave him too much processed sugar.
And has over 1,700 calories in it. This dessert leaves any concept of health in the rearview mirror. The bread pudding could just be the single most unhealthy item that Texas Roadhouse makes. But let's not miss the point here. This steakhouse franchise is a great establishment, and any patron visiting the restaurant truly gets a whole lot of bang for their buck when eating at one of their many locations across the nation. Just remember that moderation is always the key. Oh, and maybe a doggy bag to take home the leftovers, if there are any. Your heart and conscience will thank you.